So yeah, how's your morning, Mrs. The Jacket?
You had to point that out.
Yeah, have to.
You still think I'm doing it for swag, right?
I mean, it's a light jacket, so.
Yeah. It's been great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Nothing much to say about it.
Yeah, and your week?
Same thing.
Busy?
Been chilled actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
I'm actually scared about the fact that it's being chilled.
But that's how it's supposed to be, though. Because you know you got work done, now you're chilling.
It's not like
Oh,
that.
it's not like that. Okay.
It's just I don't have much work to do, and I feel like the purge is gonna hit in the coming weeks to come and all of that. So.
Alright. No, but like, it's
Yeah.
normally like that, so.
And your week?
My side, everything was, good. It was a good weekend, even though I'm fatigued and stuff, from like gym.
Me too, actually.
You too, what?
Yeah.
What? What?
No, I'm feeling pain from gym. Oh gosh,
Right.
like can't you just congratulate me?
Right. How many days?
The way I was walking to this place this morning.
How many days did you make this week?
Just one day.
Yeah,
It was
exactly.
yesterday. But that's why I'm feeling the pain.
And then you're gonna quit for like the next coming 3 weeks, right?
No, just a week. I've been trying to do every week.
Okay. Alright, no problem.
Oh gosh.
No, but like, other than that, everything's good, I guess.
Yeah.
As it's supposed to be.
I said you were looking good this morning, and you said it's just because of your t-shirt.
Yes, your
Of the
t-shirt.
t-shirt.
You had to point that out because of your t-shirt first. And then everything else comes after.
But honestly, it wasn't like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay. No, I thought about it. I was just like,
Yeah.
okay, this looks cool,
Yeah.
I wanted to top
But
it
the
up with
t-shirt
some-
does add that.
Yeah,
something,
it's your
something.
t-shirt. Has to. I mean, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, I actually checked it out. I was like, it's cool. Let's go outside, and face the people. So yeah, you brought up an interesting topic
Yeah.
yesterday, actually.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I actually need to get comfortable with this topic.
Okay.
Just with everything that has been going on in society recently, I just felt that it's important to reflect on what humanity is.
All right.
And just know the importance of being connected with people, or the importance of
What holistically?
holistically, and just like when I refer to humanity, just the values that are needed to do the right things as a living being on this world.
Mm-hmm. And what's your take on
On the whole humanity.
it? Yeah, just because you talked about how
Things
people
happening.
are interconnected and right.
Yeah. Humanity. What do I think at hand? Just how we create other people, and
What do you mean?
how the order of life is.
All right.
How generations are increased and
All
all
right,
that.
all right.
And
So you're taking it back from
yeah, I'm taking it really way back just
Alright.
to get
Okay.
an understanding of this, and
Okay.
how we need to be able to sustain the creation of otherness. So it's not just about your line, your lineage, or your generation, but because this world is made up of people, we
Yeah.
need to live in a manner that
You accompany
yeah,
everybody.
yeah, exactly that. And for me, that's the basics of humanity. And obviously, living in that manner would be, I don't know, caring for the person next to you.
Yeah.
Just living in a sustainable way yourself, so that
Yeah.
you don't deplete whatever's happening on this world.
Makes sense. I guess with me, like my take with the whole humanity and just how I feel like it would have been a better place if everybody saw everyone as important the way they are important. Like things would have made much more sense. But I think it's this thing that we live in a world where humanity on its own can't prevail, right? Because what makes a person? The things they've attained and all of that and all of that, you know. So because of that, it has created this whole humanity thing to be some sort of a conflict.
Yeah.
Because now it's like, okay, yes, you can be human enough, but what do you come with?
Yeah.
What's your status? You know, what have you attained?
That's
What's
where
your
the problem
success?
actually
You understand?
always
Yeah.
begins.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
you need to understand that we have different identities, different cultures, or we have, like you say, status and all of that.
Yeah.
But we're all coming from a single source.
Yeah, we all human.
Yeah, exactly.
We human
We're
before
all human.
everything.
Exactly.
Before everything.
So why do a lot of people actually miss that part?
Like I just said, like what breeds the problem is when mankind decided to have material stuff. You know,
We're
when
always gonna have those material stuff.
no, I mean like where it started. Like now, you know, people like think about it like in the Bible where they say people were naked, everybody was naked, or the first two people were naked, right? They were living in the garden or wherever they were living, but like it was just like there were no houses, there was nothing, it was just like living on a farm or whatever, you know, countryside, and you had to just be human, right? And then the sin came, you know, somebody sinned, and then things changed. Even animals started being violent, right? Like everything changed, right? The whole world. So that's when mankind decided that, okay, let's make our lives better. But in them doing so, they didn't realize the long-term problem that this is gonna cause. You know, like yes, our lives are better now. Yes, we got like transportation. Yes, we got housing, whatever.
But we've created like
but
so
we've
many
created
divides.
so many, you know, division in many parts. Like even just like continents for that matter. For the fact that we have the richest continent, and then we have the poor continents. Like that's already it just tells you so much, because it's like, okay, this group of people, however many they are, they're the rich, right? Like the G8, right? Like they there, and then you get others that are like called developing countries or third world countries or poor countries, and it's just like, yo, does that make us, you know, less of human? You know, like if for instance, like they had to kill, they say maybe the whole world is on a tick. It's like, and certain people needed to be chosen to be killed. Who do you think they're gonna go for? The less fortunate ones. You know, because what, they don't have some sort of importance in this world.
It's actually really sad that we go through that, because you know what I was actually getting to initially is that it's funny how I'm sure most households or most individuals instill in people that, you know, you need to treat the person next to you as if you would treat, like the way you treat yourself. It's values that exactly, that are in the Bible. But
it's not that way.
It's not that way. Not that way.
Yeah, I mean, like even just like for instance, what's happening in our country right now, South Africa, right? It's just like, it's always been a divide because we were brought up in that. Like, you know, think about what caused us to be divided, right? As a continent. However many years it dates back, when they took us for granted, right? They took our resources, everything, and all of that. You know, some countries were left really like on the low. Some countries were there, and then, you know, South Africa just happened to be there, right? And Nigeria, whatever.
I'm actually glad that you say South Africa just happened. No, like the fact that you understand that, you know, these were the things that were done by whoever took over
the white
countries,
folks.
And it's not something that was done by the people who actually, like the originators. You understand? And that's why there's inequality in terms of the progress within countries.
Within countries,
And the fact that you shouldn't be using that to hype yourself out or to isolate yourself out. But anyway, continue.
So like, you know, because even South Africa, like so much happened here as well, and that's what brought about apartheid era, right? And it was there for a long time, and black people, for instance, were oppressed so much, right? So I think that it just fueled that anger to actually hate our own people, right? Like when I mean our own people, I mean our own African people, because it's always been a thing that we were oppressed in our country, right, by the white folks that probably don't belong here, but just happen to be here, right? Because they saw a way of life in this country. So just that. So the little that we had as South Africans, I guess, was just like it's us and just us only. So, and even when that is so, there's still people who are oppressed in the country. That actually the black people today, right?
Yeah.
Like, and they're oppressed by their own people now.
True.
It's by their own people, and it's like now when they get like people, so immigrants coming in the country, and maybe they feel like they don't belong here, right? Whether legally or illegally, they feel like they don't belong here because already they feel oppressed and the country's just not fair, right? So it's like they're gonna retaliate, and it's gonna bring about the whole xenophobia and all of that, and it's just like humanity is forgotten when it's like that, because now it's not even, you're not moved by rationality, you're moved by anger, you're moved by inequality, you're moved by poverty, because most people, think about it, people who are committing these crimes or doing these things, even those who are killing women and children, most people are poor. Some people are well off,
Exactly.
and they actually should just ring a bell exactly from that, like for instance, even in Zimbabwe, how Mugabe was always there, his kids were there, family I suppose was there, and then the rest of the country is just like
exact opposite.
exactly, and your people are living good, right? Your family's living good, but your people are suffering. Like, where's the rationality in that, and
True.
where's the humanity in that?
True.
You're utilizing all these resources, yet your people are suffering. So yeah, I guess that's what brings about these kind of things,
In addition to that, I think it's just like you said, what we went through the whole apartheid area, and there's a lot of mental thinking that needs to be reversed. You understand? People's mindsets have been tuned into a way that makes Africans, or just people in general, fight each other, because that was the order of the day back then. And I feel like, we need to go back to the root as to, what were things before, and all that mess that was created, it needs to be reversed in terms of psychological thinking, so that it doesn't repeat itself, so that it doesn't surface again.
I mean, it will take a long time, because it's just like racism. It's not something that's gonna.
It might also not ever happen because we all think differently.
And you know what's sad is our grandparents, right? They still teach us, South Africans, right? Because they were at the forefront of apartheid, right, era, and some of our mothers, right? They were there, and they got to experience the pain and all of that. They still teach us to hate white people. Because this
Which
is.
I don't blame them for.
They still teach
we
us
don't
like
understand
they.
what they went through.
Yeah. We don't.
From the little that we've seen, it's really
it was
messed
crazy.
up. It's messed up.
I mean,
now imagine being in that situation.
Exactly. Some of our parents actually still have wounds that are gonna scars. That are gonna be permanent. Forever until they go to their graves. That's how crazy it is.
And that's why I admire when humanity actually takes the step to forgive, or to look at things from all angles, you understand, not one-sided. And I think that's the same thing that needs to be done right now in terms of all the issues that are happening in society. Just understanding that, I'm just going to try and put in an analogy, you have a prism, and light reflects on that prism, and different colors come out of that. You need to understand that all people are at the root of the prism. We're all the same. We're all human beings, and we just reflect different struggles and different ideologies, but we need to understand that everyone has their own issues and their own, and maybe just put in a little consideration as to what the other person may be facing.
I want to ask you a question now, and it's just like, it's quite like,
Controversial.
not even controversial. It's just, I guess it's just reality. So okay, South Africans are fighting, all kinds of other African people, right? But
Yeah.
what triggered this whole thing was because of a Nigerian that was selling drugs in Pretoria, right?
Yeah.
To whoever, and then that guy, the taxi driver, was like, "Yo, don't do that," and then he shot him, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna ask in the sense of Nigeria and South Africa.
Yeah.
So like, as much as I saw like a lot of celebrities, Nigerian
right?
celebrities,
Yeah.
they were
Went down.
retaliating, right?
Yeah.
So they were like, "This is so wrong. Whatever. Our people are not being treated right."
Yeah.
And then it was just like, yes, they're not, right? They're not. I understand that. But then at the same time, do you guys realize? Because that's the thing. I didn't see nobody taking accountability of what they've done. Like, for instance, I specifically point out Hillbrook,
Yeah.
what they've done there.
Yeah.
How many lives they're ruining, like there. How many kids are being used and all of
Yeah.
that. Like, it's like, yes, we're brothers and sisters when it comes to the benefit of y'all, but then when y'all are doing wrong, we're not supposed to, I guess, point it out.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, like, what's your take on that? Because I felt like it was just a circus, because
Yeah.
everybody wanted to say whatever they want
Yeah.
to say. This, whatever. And by all means, I'm not saying killing people is right or anything
Yeah.
like that, and violence is wrong, whatever. But I'm just saying, like, actions of people, just specifically actions.
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
First of all, when it comes to the feud between the celebrities, I felt like it was so irrational in the sense
Very.
that there is a deeper issue
Yeah, there's a
happening
deeper
in the
issue.
country,
Yeah.
and you are using freaking platform to make yourself.
And I think that's the thing. That's what I was telling a lot of people. They took what AKA said
Exactly.
out of context.
Out of context. The
Like,
first
they
time
took
when
it out of
who was
context.
it? Who was it?
YC or
Yeah,
whatever.
I see.
Yeah.
The first time I saw that, I was like, man, like, honestly, this is baseless.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is baseless.
Yeah. They
Because
took it-
just
yeah.
because you say, why do we always gotta lose to Nigeria, doesn't mean he hates Nigerians.
Yeah.
It's just
it could be a personal thing.
true.
It
but
could be a
was so
personal
out
thing,
of
which is
context.
okay.
That-
Because that's the thing of the past, and it was football, right? It could be a personal thing. We all
Yeah.
have our personal opinions. I can
Yeah.
choose not to lose to Germany.
Yeah.
It's a personal thing. I know why, right?
It's just like, like maybe between me and you, how we sometimes compete with a few things and
Yeah.
be like, oh damn, why do I always have to lose to you?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that
It's a
I'm
personal
now-
thing,
Yeah,
yeah.
it doesn't
Doesn't
mean
mean
I've got some vendetta
you should hate me. Yeah, you understand.
True.
Exactly.
That's how I took that,
Yeah.
and I just felt
Even
it just
before-
went so crazy.
Actually,
after that.
before he brought up about that, AKA mentioned something. He was just saying all this feud, whatever. I don't remember the exact words of the tweet,
Yeah.
but he was just saying what's happening is just so wrong, and it's just like a lot of, I don't remember, but like he was just basically pointing out what's happening, and that people shouldn't be really going back and forth, but rather focus at the deeper problem. Yeah. And then that's when he came along, and then he brought up that whole, this guy
Yeah.
who said he doesn't want to lose to Nigeria,
Yeah.
and then your Burna Boy came.
Burna Boy had facts, but
Yeah.
it was only facts to
So the feud that was never there.
or someone who was like, who hated,
Yeah.
Nigerians
Yeah.
or whatever. It had nothing. I don't think
Yeah.
AK deserved any of those threats.
Nah,
I
he
thought it was
didn't.
like,
I mean, to threaten
and then
somebody's
it just
life.
became more and more stupid because
Exactly.
then Babes comes in and
No,
she's
that was
like,
not her. She's
Is
been
it?
hacked, yeah.
Okay.
No, that's
But-
because she's been hacked for a long time. I don't
Is
know if
it?
you're aware.
Okay.
Yeah, because she was going even back and forth. Well,
I'm
the
sure
account,
Josie
the
wrote
account was
something,
going,
but I felt like it wasn't.
the account was going back
Didn't
and
make
forth with
sense.
Lady Zamar, but that was not her.
Is
It's
it?
actually she's been hacked for a long time now. I think
Okay.
3 months or so
Okay.
now. Yeah, it's
Okay.
not her.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But like I said, that was useless, and I don't
Very
think
useless.
we need to spend more
I mean,
time
for the mere
talking
fact
about
of
that shit.
threatening somebody's life, for that matter. Like,
I
what
mean-
what do you think? What do you think the people of South Africa, like for instance, you as a Nigerian, right? You're
Yeah.
threatening a South African. This is like
What
the,
they're
the
complaining
top
about.
rapper of South Africa.
Okay.
What do you think these people are gonna do?
Exactly.
You know, and it's like you feel actually you're trying to
Adding
kill
fire
yeah
to
you're
the
trying to kill
flame.
fire with like gasoline, and it's just like
Yeah.
it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Let's discuss this and talk about it because
Yeah.
I don't know who jumped in. I think it was Reason.
Kid actually came in.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
He
Oh, I
actually
didn't see
denounced
that.
what his people said.
Oh,
And I feel like he was rational in the sense that
Yeah.
he also pointed out that there's a deeper issue
Yeah,
at hand,
I
and you
mean-
guys are just using this platform.
exactly. And for
to
them
create
to even be
sensation.
doing that on Twitter,
Yeah.
because I bet Burna Boy can get through to AKA. I bet
Exactly.
YC can get through, like through the people, they celebrities. It's
Yeah.
like, yo, man, what did you actually mean when you said that?
Yeah.
And then he can explain.
Yeah.
Not go back and forth on Twitter,
Yeah.
you know. And it's like, what has the world become?
True.
What has the world become? And what are you teaching the other people that are not,
Exactly.
like you see, me
Because
and you,
you
we
are
rational.
on a platform to actually
Exactly.
influence people.
Me and you are rational because
Yeah.
we smart, we educated, whatever. But then other people who are just seeing these things and they live for Twitter, what do you think they're gonna do?
Yeah. It's crazy.
What do you think they're gonna do?
They just
You know?
gotta feed off misinformation
Exactly.
and activate it. Yeah.
Exactly. So
But, like,
yeah, but
with
I
your
was
question.
asking you, yeah, what do you think?
I just feel like there's two sides to the coin,
No,
and
of course, yeah.
both sides need to be looked at. First of all,
Mm-hmm.
I think it was not a Nigerian man, it was a Tanzanian man. Secondly, police are the one who, after investigation, are the ones who, like their bullet is the one that actually killed that taxi driver. And
Okay.
I just feel like, you know, when as journalists, when we report stories, you don't have to subject criminal acts to a person's origin. You
Yeah,
understand?
yeah,
Like
Sure.
a criminal act is a criminal act
Exactly.
regardless
No
of
matter,
where
no matter where
they
you
come from.
Yeah.
So I feel like, because I mean, if someone does great, I'm not saying that they're gonna say a Nigerian donated what and what, but you know, most likely they won't say where he's coming from. And I guess what this sells to the public is, you know, all they do is terrible things. But when you talk about the cases of Hillbrow and stuff like that, I certainly agree. We cannot deny the fact that these people mainly, you know, engage with, you know, drug lord activities or a whole lot of fraudulent stuff. And
Yeah.
it is wrong. When you come into someone else's country, you need to come with a mindset that you're going to abide to the rules of the country. And
I don't
all
think
that.
I don't think you even have to look at it as like someone else's country. Just because I feel like it's a continent, it's Africa, right? Just let me say, I think rather just look at it as like a space.
Yeah.
You know, like let's say a person allows you into their space, right?
Yeah.
Let's say just an individual,
Yeah.
they allow you in their space.
Yeah.
The least you could do, they allowed you to it, right? The least you could do
Respect.
is respect and
Yeah.
abide by
Yeah.
the rules. If you don't agree with the rules, you can always go back to your own space, right?
Yeah.
But then now it becomes a huge problem when you don't. And it's like, what do you think is gonna happen? If conflict is gonna arise,
True.
because you know, these were rules that were set out and this is what you choosing to do, and this is someone else's space,
Yeah.
you know?
But at the same time, I feel like we need to get rid of the element of generalization. And, you know, like I said initially, a crime is a crime, and there are many perpetrators of bad things which they need to be dealt with. And that's why when I say there's so many underlying issues at hand, you need to question the corruption level of the police force in the country.
Yeah, yeah.
What are they doing?
Yeah.
Or just the root of poverty, the root of people not getting jobs before, because I feel like the government is hiding from resolving these issues and hiding behind the whole xenophobia thing, or Africans are taking what needs to belong to you. But they know that, there are jobs that we are not providing for you guys. There are things lacking, and there are things that we need to fix in order for, because I'm sure if people had equal provision of work and all of that, then people wouldn't necessarily want to fight for someone else's job. So, like I said, two sides to a coin.
But like, it's a class thing, man. It's really a class thing, and it can't be the same. The minute you start making more money than me, we're not gonna be the same.
Yeah.
But
like I said, I understand their frustrations. I understand.
It's a class thing.
They have kids to feed, they have lives to live, and you just need to direct your frustration at the right channel, and you need to do it in an orderly way. I mean, in terms of everything, you can't be burning up your university. You can't
that's wrong. Yeah.
In order to be heard, you understand? I feel like you need to put more thought into the actions that we take.
But at the same time, like, the saddest thing is, as much as yes, we want these people to be rational and all of that, it becomes hard, dude. Like, when you uneducated, first of all.
I feel education actually has nothing to do with this.
You think so? No,
it plays like a minimal part. Education will tell you that back in apartheid time, other African countries had influence in what was happening in this country. But education will tell you that, when people are busy in the business, making their own businesses, they're not necessarily affecting how you would get your job, or they're probably creating jobs for you, or whatever. But I feel there's more to education.
I'm not talking about education of like school education or formal education. I'm talking education of life in general.
Okay.
Like everything. Because think about it, like where you grow up makes you before anything else. So if you come from a family that has no knowledge of life, right, whatsoever, then you're most likely not going to be knowledgeable when it comes to life, right? So education of life before all these other classes, whatever. So if you've been taught,
I guess you have knowledge of life by just living life. Maybe you're referring to like values and morals and
that's what I'm saying. Like just like because you can't just I guess like experience life on your own. You need, like, that's why they always say parents or family plays a huge role before anyone else in a child's life, right? And if all your life all you see is violence, or all your life all you see is what's not right, what do you think your life is going to turn out to be most of the time? Yes, you can choose not to go that way, but most of the time these kids or these people, they choose to go the route that they were taught. Like it's like these kids in other African countries who are taught how to use a gun at like 7.
Yeah.
They taught to kill. Right? Yeah. They taught to kill, and they don't even have parents, but they have guardians, I guess, right? Like the guys that take them in, and what do they teach them? Think about if they were teaching them the Bible, for instance.
Yeah.
Or the humanity, for instance, like take care of somebody else as if they're your own. But all they've been taught is violence, right? Yeah. That you're gonna be a product of your teachings, right? And that's the education you're getting, just life on its own. So, and now it's gonna bring about your values and all of that. That's how everything just starts and all of that. So even just here, it's like there's so many, because I know there's so many disadvantaged places, people, whatever, right? So it's like, I know the teachings. Okay, let me say some. I know some of the teachings that these people are being equipped with, they're being told to do this. They're being told to I guess opt for violence when things don't go right.
Yeah.
That's what they've been taught, and it's like they're most likely gonna be that way until they die, and that's why most of them go to jail because they're gonna commit crimes and yeah.
But I mean, we've all been equipped with something called conscience. We all know, we all know the difference from right and wrong. And I guess ultimately it is our decision to make that choice, regardless of what we've been through or what we see around us, as to what path we want to take going forward, because the future is in our own hands. And I guess people should be able to distinguish between what is good for them, what is not good for them.
I mean, like everything is a choice, and same with them. Like they choose to, do whatever they're doing. Like it's like even these people are raping women and children.
Yeah.
They maybe
That's
come.
something else wanted us to touch on.
Yeah, they coming from maybe like their dad, for instance, raped their mother. Then that damaged them for life.
But did you see what it did to your mom?
No, of course they
I
do.
know.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you can make the conscious. I'm not for. I don't want to speak for someone else, or I don't want to sound inconsiderate in any way. But I'm just saying, you can make the conscious decision, that you wouldn't want to impart that pain that was inflicted on your mom onto someone else. You understand? Because you are creating or you are increasing the cycle of people who are deranged or people who are. You understand what I'm saying? Exactly.
I think this is why I always be like, I don't understand people's pains. I don't understand people's struggles.
Yeah.
Because I always say it's always easy to speak from the other side until you're in those shoes or until you're in that person's situation. And then you find yourself doing maybe worse, maybe doing the same, just everything in life, for instance, it doesn't even have to be rape or anything. Just, how people be like, oh man, if I lose my mom, I'd act like this. I'll take it as it comes, and then you find yourself losing your mother, and then you find yourself basically not seeing the purpose of life anymore. You become that person who didn't see the purpose of life no more. It's like, that's what I'm saying. I don't like speaking from, I can only try to understand, but I don't like speaking from a person's situation as if I'm in there, because I don't know what that specific situation did to them. I don't know, mentally so, emotionally so, I don't know. And that's why I can only try to understand. Like, for instance, a psychologist will try to understand why you're committing the act before they actually give solutions. They will try to understand the root of the problem. And that's why I always say, like, it's always important. And that's the reason, even when, let's say you've done a case like that, they look deeper into your family, right? In court, they look deeper into your family. They research what actually happened. How was your childhood? Because they understand that psychologically these things can affect you. It doesn't have to make you a rapist, but you could not be doing well in school, or you could not be doing well in social circles. Yes, it might not be of a bigger impact the same way as you committing a crime like raping, but that's affecting your life at the end of the day. And it's actually hindering your progress. So that's why they have to look at, what actually happened in the past? How were you brought up? Because that's always important. Like, your past is important as your present, the same way as is important as your future. It's not wise to live in the past, of course, but
you need to understand
your past
to know where you're
going.
going.
Exactly. That's how crucial it is. So that's why, for me, like, even what these people are doing, they mentally damaged, because no normal person would do this. So it brings about concern, You know, like when I see people doing these things,
And what do you do with that concern?
no, like it's just
Like it brings about concern, but like you said, the past affects how they act now.
yeah, and how they will act in the future.
Some of them, their mental states are.
It's not right.
Yeah, but can't we like intervene? Can't someone intervene?
I mean, like for instance,
Try
like
to change.
rapists that are, you know, caught and stuff. You know, they don't just go to jail. I don't know if you know that, or prison. They actually see psychologists and you know whoever that can deal with that problem. Yeah, but like they, you know, investigate even more. Like they even take you to rehab, rehab for whatever, right? Just to kind of like, yes, you paying for the crime that you committed,
Yeah.
but at the same time they try to actually, when you go out after X amount of years, you don't, you know, you don't become the same person, because yes, you were damaged at the time, but that was your past. Maybe now you're a changed person, you know. And yeah, man, like as much as we may,
As much as you intervene, it takes the person
yeah,
himself
yeah,
to
yeah,
make
that
decision
too,
to,
of course,
to-
always, because they need to
I guess
see.
we need to reevaluate what we teach society.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I always say that, you know, like I always say, like that's what I was saying now. Teachings are important, dude. Like, as you know, from parents to the community, everybody involved in a person's life, even the social circles that you are in.
But yeah,
Everything's
I
important,
definitely
yeah.
get what you say and agree with what you say. But something that I just struggle with is how do we break the cycle? You understand?
How do we break the cycle?
Yeah, because this generation that is doing whatever they do, they're gonna impart that to the next generation, and then it keeps going. And we need to be taught.
That has to do with people, the individuals like that are doing whatever. Because us, like as people from the outside who are not there, like let's say I was a rapist
Yeah,
and I choose not to rape,
yeah,
that's me breaking a cycle. Because at least I'm not going to teach my son to do that,
okay.
right? That's me, right? But then us as people from the outside, we can only just look at the people that are doing so. Already there's like you paying for your crimes and all of that, taking you to prison and all of that, right? But still, you know, you can that can be done and all of that. You know, they even introduced death penalty, you know, all of that. Like those are some forms or some of the forces that are going to be used so that this is changed. But the problem is this thing is just bigger than what people think. You know, it's quite big. It's really big. Like it's just not like so many factors, dude. Like there's so many factors that bring about people doing so. You know, because you can be from a good family, but you can choose to rape. You know, I was raised up really well. Nobody in my family, we don't even have that past, right? Where men are raping people, right?
That's why-
But I can choose to do so. I can
Yeah.
choose to do that, and it might, it might, it might have to do with my own personal situations.
That's why I said as much as what we learn from our surroundings or the teachings that we get,
Yeah,
most of the decisions
Are
that are
made by the
taken
person, yeah.
are made by the person.
yeah. It's a 50-50 thing. Like it has to do with your how you were brought up, the knowledge and everything, your the values that were instilled in you, everything, like all of that. And also it has to do with choices.
Yeah.
It's a 50-50 thing. Like at the end of we can't ignore that, you know. Because like I said, even let's say you were raised up in that situation, it's still your choice to do that. You know, it's still your choice. You can choose not to continue with that. You know, so yeah, it's quite a complex thing, man. It's like basically how the problem right now of how do we reduce poverty? How do we make sure everybody is in the same social class? How do we do that? You know, We have
You
ways.
start somewhere.
No, of course, already they're starting. Is it helping though? No, it's not.
How much effort are they putting in?
No, they are. They are. Obviously, we're not there. We're not in those situations. But we can only see from what's being done. Of
But
course,
when you
they-
see a situation
Yeah.
deteriorating, then something must be done wrong.
Of course.
Something- yeah.
It's like how it's like how even when they brought up about foreign aid in countries, well, in African countries, right? They brought up about foreign aid.
Yeah.
What did that do? It only they were trying to help, but what
Yes.
did it do? But like it just put South Africa, African countries into more debt.
Yeah, true.
You know, even though they were trying to help, but it's
They were
just
never
like,
trying to help.
Pardon?
Actually. They were never trying to help. Actually.
Okay.
There's always a motive.
well, they said they were trying
That's
to
what
help.
they said. Yeah.
So
There's a motive
and
behind
what
it.
we saw was help as well, right? So it was just like
Because it's more of like a give and take thing. When we give you aid,
Yeah.
it's something that they expect from.
yeah.
It's nothing.
Or even
they-
if, let's say, even if they're not, right? But how can you, for instance, give somebody 100 million when they don't know
how
what to use?
or how
Exactly.
to multiply
Yeah.
it exactly.
What to use
Actually,
it.
that's an
Yeah.
additional
That's
factor
another. That's another.
as to why it wasn't
exactly.
helping us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know. So it's like, yes, they may have the greater good,
Oh my
but like
god, the Cape Town people just
it's
replied.
still like just a huge problem. It's really huge, and it's a big thing. Like so, that's what I'm saying. Like even with the whole these things that are happening, it's quite big, you know, and it's gonna
He's
take
on campus. Oh
a
my
long
god, I
time,
know.
and it might not even
I know
happen.
that he'll still be
We
able
might not see the change. You know, that's the saddest part. You know, so it's just really big, man. But it starts with a person.
And then
Yeah.